Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. The Fin smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess. What's happening?
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. I apologize about the late video. Work and life happen. I tried to get it done a couple times, but it is what it is. I do apologize for all of you that were here and waiting. I apologize truly, deeply, from the bottom of my heart. I do. Just things in life pop up, and I do apologize. Monday Night Football, the Miami Dolphins were here. The Miami Dolphins, obviously, we're on a nice little run, right? And, it feels good, but when will it end? And will it end? Will the Miami Dolphins continue their push towards a playoff position this week? Or will the Miami Dolphins do what the Miami Dolphins typically do and let us down? I think that this game, obviously every game from here on out is crucial. I think the Miami Dolphins absolutely have to win out to have a chance at the playoffs. And even if we win out, it's still a very long shot to get in. It's still a super long shot to get in, but we got to take care of our own business, and it starts there. And, let's see where this thing can go. I'm hoping and praying that this Miami Dolphins football team can get to the show, because anything is possible in the playoffs. Anything. And, I think this year we're better equipped than any other year in Mike McDaniel's tenure to have playoff success. Because what are we doing right now? What has been the key to this winning streak? What has been the key to this turnaround in the 2025 NFL season? We're playing good defense and we're running the ball efficiently. That's the key. And that's how you win games in the playoffs. That's how you win games in cold weather. And we got a huge test coming up Monday night in Pittsburgh. Huge test Monday night in Pittsburgh. Let's say our good mornings. Michael, good morning. Eagles Uncensored, good morning, good morning, good morning. and whoever else is in there. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share. Michael says Pittsburgh's won 25 games on Monday Night Football. I want to say they're 23-0 since 91. If you eliminate the COVID year, that's amazing. That's an amazing record. That's an amazing stat. That just shows how much of a home field advantage Pittsburgh has. The fact that they can win 23 straight Monday Night Football games at home is a testament to that home field crowd. How the Steelers play at home since 1991. Since 1991, I was 7 years old. I'm 40 some years old now. That's an amazing stat. That's an amazing graphic. And that's telling of how the Pittsburgh Steelers come to play on Monday Night Football. But there is big news. Big news. TJ Watt, there's an issue. Something happened with his lung. He had to have an emergency surgery. He will be out. He will be out for this game. And the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has been a problem this year, specifically in the last 5 games. We'll talk about those. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have not been good since 2020 or 2017 without TJ Watt. I want to say they're 1-11 since 2017 without TJ Watt. That is a considerable bonus for the Miami Dolphins to be playing this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, who, let's be real, they're limping into this game. They have not been good, specifically stopping the run. And what are the Miami Dolphins doing best right now? Running the football. They are the best running the football team in all of the NFL the past 6 weeks. From the last 6 weeks, the Miami Dolphins have ran the ball better than anybody in the NFL. Now, we do have our own concerns. Devon Achane went down last week with a rib injury. Mike McDaniel said he could have came back in and played, but still, that's concerning. Devon Achane is an undersized back. It's going to be cold, folks. It's going to be cold. That's another one of those narratives that the Miami Dolphins must overcome, that they cannot win games in cold weather. It's going to be 18 degrees, 16-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be cold in Pittsburgh Monday night. How do these Miami Dolphins show up? How do they prepare for that? How do they get themselves ready for another freezing cold game when they've had no success in that weather? And that's why it's concerning for Devon Achane. When it's cold like that, them hits just feel different. So I'm concerned with that, but we have, Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon, they had a great performance last week against the Jets. First time since the 70s, we've had 3 running backs get into the end zone. So, if Achane can come out there and give us, 15 to 20 touches, Jalen Wright, and Ollie Gordon, I think, can fill in nicely. But we need Devon Achane. There was a noticeable drop off after Achane went out the game against the Jets last week. I know Jalen Wright ended up going over 100 yards. A lot of those yards came late, though. This team is different when Devon Achane is doing his thing. He is the Miami Dolphins offense. He is that explosive player. He is the dynamic player on this football team, and we're going to need him to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Eagles Uncensored says he got a punctured lung from dry needling, which is pretty much like acupuncture. I won't to say, but the person went too deep with the needle, which made his lung collapse. I'm taking someone's fired. Yeah, I would say so. I would say someone's getting fired and probably a lawsuit, depending on what type of waiver he signed. But we'll see. We'll see. Michael Lombardo says Tua's got to be able to throw the ball downfield to win. I mean, he hasn't really done that during the stretch, Michael, and we've won football games. If we can run the football, Tua's got to be able to make plays. Yes, I agree. There's got to be some kind of, he's got to put some kind of pressure on the defense that they have to be worried that Tua's going to hit them if they don't stick to their assignments. So Tua's going to have to play decent football for this team to win. I have no misconception about that. He's got to make some plays. But again, Tua started off strong against the Jets. I want to say he started out 8 for 8 with a touchdown. And then after they got off script, that's where things kind of went downhill. He struggled the rest of the game. Could have threw a couple of interceptions, ended up not turning the ball over, which was great. But this is going to be a big one. This is a big one. This is another narrative that this Miami Dolphins team can end. They can end the fact that they've been unable to win in freezing cold temperatures. That's another thing that would be a positive check mark in Mike McDaniel's bid to keep his head coaching job of the Miami Dolphins. If he can go to Stephen Ross and say, listen, we've knocked a bunch of these things off the board, right? We're able to run the football. Well, where we've came back from such a horrid start. We can beat teams with winning records. We beat the Bills. We've won in cold weather against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football, ending their streak. This game would go a long way in keeping Mike McDaniel here in 2026. And listen, I honestly believe that Mike McDaniel is safe. I believe Mike McDaniel is going to be the head coach here in 2026, regardless of how you feel about the guy. And this is not my personal feelings. I mean, I can give my personal feelings on the whole Mike McDaniel situation, but this is just my opinion based on what I'm seeing. I believe Mike McDaniel will be back as coach. That's not me saying that I think it's the right decision. That's not me saying I think it's the wrong decision. I'm just saying what I think's going to happen. Aquavision says this is also a Fitzpatrick revenge game. Well, that's another way to look at it. You got Fitzpatrick on one side of the football. He's got to be angry. He was happy in Pittsburgh. He's got to be angry with the Pittsburgh team. I'm sure he's going to have extra motivation. But you got Jalen Ramsey on the other side of the field. You got Jonnu Smith on the other side of the field. We all know that Jalen Ramsey had his issues here. That's why he demanded to be traded. What Jalen Ramsey are we going to see? What Jalen Ramsey is going to show up to play? Jalen Ramsey at times can still perform like one of the league's elite corners. I do believe Pittsburgh plays him mostly a safety now, but is Jalen Ramsey going to be highly motivated? Is Jalen Ramsey going to be out there head hunting? Is Jalen Ramsey going to be out there trying to make a play and cripple this Miami Dolphins offense? How much of Tua Tagovailoa's game does Jalen Ramsey actually know? How much of a student was he in practice knowing how to defend Tua Tagovailoa and what works and what doesn't? And then Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith wanted to be in Miami, and the Miami Dolphins just did not want to pay Jonnu. And look, he's not putting up the same numbers in Pittsburgh. We knew he was a product of the offense. We knew he was a product of the offensive game, this offensive scheme for the Miami Dolphins. We knew he wasn't going to put up those kind of stats anywhere else. He was looking for a payday. He didn't end up getting it. I would have loved to have Jonnu here still, but, he was a product of the offensive scheme. Mike McDaniel, that's one of Mike McDaniel's better assets is that he knows how to use skill players. He knows how to get the most out of these players that have specific traits. Jonnu Smith is great with the ball in his hands. He's great after the catch. Mike McDaniel knows how to get it into those guys' hands and let them do what they do. The same with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill comes from Kansas City with playing with Patrick Mahomes. Maybe a top 3 quarterback of all time, but he has his best years here with a quarterback that struggles to throw at 55 yards. Nobody's confusing Patrick Mahomes and Tua Tagovailoa, yet Tyreek Hill had the most prolific years of his career in Miami. So right now, the Miami Dolphins, again, it's a long shot for them to make the playoffs. Technically, the Miami Dolphins could be eliminated from the playoffs this weekend if a plethora of things happens. We need to absolutely root against the Houston Texans. We need to root against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We need to root against the Chargers, the Buffalo Bills. We need all these teams to lose. Baltimore Ravens, all those teams, we need to take L's. Now, we don't, if one of these teams win, that does not mean we're eliminated from playoff contention. But if the Miami Dolphins lose this Monday and let's say all those teams win, that would eliminate the Miami Dolphins from playoff contention. Now, right now, it's still, there is a path to being eliminated where a bunch of things happen. That's a lot to go through. But again, the Miami Dolphins, they don't control their own destiny. But if the Miami Dolphins don't win, they're not going to the playoffs. Bottom line, it all starts there. We can talk about a million different things, but the Miami Dolphins got to take care of their business first and foremost. Let's take the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And I said they were struggling coming in, and now they have no TJ Watt. TJ Watt, without question, is the star of that defense. Cam Hayward showed up on their injury report, but he's gonna play. That'd be nice if he was out also. But TJ Watt is a huge loss. Like I said, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-11 without TJ Watt since 2017. That is a huge loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But over the last 5 games, Pittsburgh Steelers, they played the Ravens, the Bills, the Bears, the Bengals, and the Chargers. Over that course of time, they've given up 346 yards a game, 189 yards rushing a game, or passing a game, my fault, 159 yards rushing a game. They're giving up 159 yards rushing a game the last 5. If you put that into the NFL stats, that would have them dead last in the NFL. 159 yards a game is dead last in the NFL, right behind the Cincinnati Bengals, who are giving up 155 yards a game. So this defense is struggling to stop the run. Seriously, they're having issues. This Pittsburgh Steelers team is having issues. 159 yards a game the last 5. Key games against the Ravens, they gave up 217. Gave up 249 against the Bills. Those are huge rushing performances. And those are the last 2 games from the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So if you go off the last 2, they're giving up 200 plus yards a game. Now, if you look at the Miami Dolphins rushing in those same 5 games, the Miami Dolphins are averaging 171 yards rushing a game. That'd be number 1 in the NFL. That would be number 1 in the NFL. If you eliminate that loss to the Ravens, where the Miami Dolphins struggled, they'd be averaging 190 yards a game during this 4-game winning streak. So if you take up the fact that the Miami Dolphins are averaging 171 yards rushing, that'd be number 1 in the NFL, to the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers are giving up 159 yards a game, which would be dead last in the NFL, that's a recipe for disaster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Our best quality meets their worst quality. That's positive for the Miami Dolphins. That's got to make you feel good about our chances. Even though it's going to be cold. Even though it's going to be cold. Why? Why does the cold not matter as much? Because running the football is how you win in cold weather. Catching the ball in cold weather is harder. Throwing the ball in cold weather is harder. Running the football in cold weather is easy. It's easy. They're no longer reliable on throwing the football. They don't have to rely on that any longer. They're able to run the football. And Pittsburgh struggles to stop the run. That's a huge advantage for the Miami Dolphins. Huge advantage for the Miami Dolphins. Big C, you ready for snow later tonight? Well, I was supposed to get a lot of snow up here. I'm hoping. I love snow. Michael says they're going to double team Waddle. Got to hit the tight end. See, that's the thing. Mike Tomlin's not a stupid coach. If you take away our playmakers, if you double team Waddle and somehow you can slow down HN, or HN, God forbid, goes down with an injury, that's one thing I do worry about, is that the Miami Dolphins are struggling with playmakers. Other than Waddle and HN, name me somebody that's been a huge asset to this offense. Now, Darren Waller, I'll give you a couple of games. He was huge for us. But I don't feel like they use him enough. They need to use Darren Waller more. They need to get him more invested in this offense. They need to incorporate him more. He could be huge in this game. He could be huge down the stretch. A-Rod has always killed us. Let's see how our DBs do in our last 3 games coming up. Facing top wide receiver, Steelers, Bengals, Tampa. Well, I don't think the Steelers got top wide receivers. You know, DK Metcalf's obviously a freak of nature. But again, you know, Rasul Douglas has been playing out of his mind. I think you have to send help to that side of the ball, because DK Metcalf's just an animal. He's going to physically dominate anybody he goes up against. He's like the LeBron James of football. He's just so big, strong, physically gifted, super fast. So I think you do need to send help to that side of the ball. Jack Jones is dealing with a knee injury, which is concerning. On the positive front, Aaron Brewer was a full participant. Elijah Campbell's dealing with a knee injury, but really he's only an issue for the special teams. Right, only decaf, but A-Rod knows how to spread the ball. And Aaron Rodgers, listen, we've had decent performances against Aaron Rodgers. Last week, last year, last game against the Jets, Aaron Rodgers definitely beat up on us. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't scare me. If we can get some pressure on him, and I think Anthony Weaver's gonna, if he was smart, I would send the house at Aaron Rodgers. Get Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. Aaron Rodgers reminds me, you know, him and Tom Brady. If you got Tom Brady uncomfortable, and that's why the Miami Dolphins used to have the most success against Tom Brady than any other team in the NFL, it's because Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, them boys would put pressure on Tom Brady, make him make mistakes, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, and that would lead the Dolphin wins. Now, I know the Patriots still beat us way more than we beat them, but The Miami Dolphins were one of the most successful franchises against Tom Brady. They got to get pressure on him. Put pressure on him. Dean, what's up? Playing in the fantasy football playoffs. You had a good start to the week. They need the double tight end, Seth Waller and Chin up and playing great. I'd love to see them utilized along with the run game. All throws made under 15 yards and let them get yak. I agree, Joe. I agree. I think that's a great game plan. Dulich has played great. Darren Waller is a mismatch nightmare for everyone. They gotta play a pretty perfect game in this one. Because they are dealing with the elements. They are dealing with a hostile Pittsburgh crowd. They are dealing with a Pittsburgh team that's 23-0 since 1991 on Monday Night Football. All those things are going up against the Miami Dolphins. Joe said he's 40 years old in the cold. He does not want to get hit like that. I agree. If there's one person on the field that does not want to be hit, it's Aaron Rodgers. The Miami Dolphins, you get it to your tight ends and you run the football. Run the football. Control the clock. Limit the amount of possessions for this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Keep Aaron Rodgers on the bench. Keep him cold. Keep him sitting over there with his jacket on. Don't let him get into a rhythm. It's a lot harder for a 40-year-old player to jump into a game ready to go. But if you let him get his body going, you let him get a bunch of possessions, then you're talking about something different. Can't turn the ball over. That's one of those obvious things. You know, we can do 5 keys to victory, but the keys to victory don't change. You run the football, you stop the run, you don't turn the ball over. I mean, that's the keys to victory every week. You don't turn the ball over, you run the ball well, you stop the run. 6 offensive linemen play as well. Obviously, you know, teams have struggled to be able to deal with that this year. And that's another check mark in the Mike McDaniel keeping his job. You know, that's another thing Mike McDaniel has been able to do, which is very impressive. Which is very impressive that Mike McDaniel has figured out a way to, you know, our offensive line was struggling. We had a lot of backups on offensive line, and he goes and, you know, let's add an offensive lineman to the backfield. That's absolutely brilliant. And the Miami Dolphins have had great success doing that. I seen A-Rod scramble for 10-yard touchdown. Can our quarterback? So that I'd never seen it. I mean, he used to be able to. There was a point in time where Tua would scramble. Look it up. There's plays where he's running over Jets defenders, just straight bullying over them. He's not that player no more. Obviously. I think Tua's regressed in a lot of ways, a lot of areas. But this game's not about Tua so much. Obviously, if Tua goes out and throws 3 interceptions, yeah, it's about Tua. But I wouldn't put this game in Tua's hands. Run the football. Stop the run. Run the football. Stop the run. Attack, attack, attack. Attack. Do what you're doing best. Do what's gotten you to back to 6-7. Do what's won you 4 straight games. Yeah, if we get behind, then there's major issues. I like Mike McDaniel the last few weeks taking the ball first. It's been defer, defer, defer. I like Mike McDaniel taking the ball first, driving down the field and scoring a touchdown, making a statement with his offense, getting those, getting your offense going, giving them a positive outlook for the rest of the game, not giving the other team's offense a chance to come down and score and getting your defense. I like taking the ball at the beginning of the game. I really do. Go out there and win it. Go out there and take what's yours. Don't play defensively. Don't go out there and kick the ball off it. No. Take the kick. Take the ball. Run it down their throat. Score a touchdown. Put pressure on them immediately. Put pressure on them to score immediately. Because if they don't score immediately, if we go down and we get a touchdown, we kick off to them and they don't score immediately, we have an opportunity to go up 2 scores. Right from the jump. Right in the first quarter, we'd have an opportunity to go up 2 scores. We can break their will in the first quarter like we did to the Jets. Roadrunner says, who would you like the Dolphins to draft in the first round? What position? I gotta go over this roster and really investigate. To me, there's numerous positions you draft, numerous directions you could go in. And then when it comes to that, I'm taking the best player available out of those positions. I think we're going to need another pass rusher because I don't think Bradley Chubb's going to be back. That will leave you with Chop Robinson. Matthew Judon's obviously not going to be back. So we're going to need a pass rusher. That's going to be high on the list. Quarterback's high on the list, but at the same time, you're going to miss out on the top tier quarterbacks. I don't think this is the year that we go after a quarterback. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to rock it out one more year with Tua. Wide receiver is going to be a big key area because you see it this year. Besides Jalen Waddle, where's the playmakers on this offense? As far as the passing game goes, where's the playmakers? Tight end. I'm not in love with drafting a tight end in the first round. That's just me. Dulich is a great number 2, in my opinion. I'd love to re-sign him. I'd bring Darren Waller back if he's available, but I'm not sure that he's going to play another year. Still, tight ends, a cornerback, obviously. Possibly safety. O-line, you can't go wrong with O-line, of course. I'd re-sign Larry Borom, though. Larry Borum's done a admirable job, though. Larry Borum's done a pretty good job. Tua does best at scripted plays. Absolutely. Script him out them 16 plays, and it might lead us out to being up 14-0 if our defense can come up with a stop early in the football game. We got a lot of time to talk about the draft, obviously, and we'll break down all those players, and listen, I think there's a good possibility that Chad Kelly is our general manager moving forward. I think there's a real possibility we don't hire a outside general manager, and I think that's a mistake. I think it's a mistake. Not that I have anything against Champ Kelly, but I think it's a mistake not bringing guys in and interviewing, doing your due diligence. Roadrunner says, re-sign Douglas and Larry Borom. I agree. Listen, Rasul Douglas, I was so wrong about. I thought Rasul Douglas was going to be another Jordan Poyer. I really did. I thought he was washed, and he's been absolutely phenomenal for us. I can admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong on Roswell Douglas. He's been phenomenal. I would absolutely re-sign him. I'd bring back Jack Jones. But yes, we do need a number one corner, and I would absolutely consider taking a corner with our number one pick. I absolutely would. You got the kid from Tennessee, I think McCoy, and who else? There's another one. He's got a brother that plays in Atlanta, I want to say. There's another top corner prospect. His brother plays in Atlanta, I want to say. But yeah, corner is definitely a huge team need. But the key, can the Miami Dolphins shock the world? Can the Miami Dolphins end the Pittsburgh Steelers 23 game winning streak on Monday Night Football? Can the Miami Dolphins shut down another narrative that they can't win in the freezing cold, as it's supposed to be 17, 18 degrees with 16 mile an hour winds? Can the Miami Dolphins do it? Will the Miami Dolphins do it? Again, TJ Watt's out for this game. The Miami Dolphins, over their last 5 games, have ran the ball for 171 yards rushing a game. If Devon Achane plays this whole game, if Devon Achane is healthy, yes, AJ Terrell's brother, yes. If not AJ, if Devon Achane plays this whole game and has been the Devon Achane that he's been the last 5-6 weeks of this season, I absolutely do think the Miami Dolphins win this game. I think the Miami Dolphins do win this game. I think TJ Watt being out is a huge loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have not been good defensively, specifically stopping the run, giving up 159 yards a game over the last 5. Over the last 2, they're giving up over 200 yards a game. This Miami Dolphins offense, Mike McDaniel's scheme, they're going to find a way to run the football, control the clock, limit the possessions of Aaron Rodgers. I think they'll be able to get enough pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I think they'll be able to stop the run. I'm not overly impressed with Pittsburgh's rushing game. So I do think the Miami Dolphins win this game. I think it's close. I think the Dolphins win this game 20-17. I think the Dolphins jump out to an early lead. Pittsburgh climbs their way back into it, and the Dolphins win on a late field goal. And for one more week, they keep their playoff hopes alive. Obviously, Buffalo's got New England this game. That game could go either way, but I'm leaning towards Buffalo winning. Jacksonville and Houston, they both got winnable games. We need someone to just fall off the face of the earth and really struggle, really just do a nosedive. That's the only opportunity that we really got to make the playoffs. We need a team to just fold. We need a team to just collapse. We may need multiple teams to collapse. Again, it's great to have these hopes and dreams and cheer for our football team. It's great. But we got to keep it realistic. We knew that it was a long shot. It was a very long shot. We're lucky to be sitting where we're at. I didn't think we'd be at 6-7. after the way we started. So that does say something about Mike McDaniel. And whether you want Mike McDaniel back as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins or not, you have to admit that it's got to be it's quite impressive that he kept this team fighting. That he kept this team from not quitting on him. And that's got to say something about him as a coach. That's got to say something about him as a coach. You got to be impressed what he's done with this rushing game. You got to be impressed. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be happy that if he's brought back, but I do think you have to understand if he's brought back, why he was brought back. I mean, Mike McDaniel's been, if you're not a Tua fan, Mike McDaniel's been saddled with Tua Tagovailoa. He's never had an opportunity to coach a quarterback that has every weapon in his arsenal. He's never had a running quarterback. He's never had a quarterback that can get outside the pocket like that. Imagine what Mike McDaniel could do with a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? And now there's talk that Joe Burrow's not happy in Cincinnati. I would stay far, far away from that if I was the Miami Dolphins. That'd be a disaster, a nightmare disaster. They're talking about 4 first-round draft picks for Joe Burrow, a guy that's been hurt more than Tua Tagovailoa. Are you serious? Are you serious? That's just asinine to me. Asinine. No way. No way would I do that. If Cincinnati can get someone to give them 4 first-round picks, they need to jump all over that. Cincinnati could build that team. They could have such a good team. You trade Joe Burrow for 4 first-round picks. You trade Jamar Chase for 3 first-round picks. You trade Higgins away for a first-round pick. You trade Hendrickson away for 2 first-round picks. You could have 12 first-round picks. And you could build that team into a powerhouse. Roadrunner says, I just want us to finish strong, and I hope we get a good GM who could draft good players, not project players. That's not unrealistic to ask for, Roadrunner. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Way too many project players in the Chris Greer regime. He took too many risks on draft picks that he hoped turned into something special instead of taking the players that showed that there's something special. Dean says, basically, we need the Texans and Dolphins to win out, then Kansas City and Steelers to lose out to make the playoffs. Also, Bills to have 10-7 record. The Dolphins make the playoffs. No worries. The Jets will. We better hope. Burrow's always hurt if they get him. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with good old Joe Burrow. We'll see what happens with Joe Burrow. But yeah, I like the Dolphins to win 20-17. Yeah, and again, I apologize about the show being late, being off schedule. That's my fault, but work does come up. Things do come up in life. Hopefully someday, I can make a living off of doing this and there won't be those life interruptions, but we shall see. We shall see. But I'm going to get out of here. Maybe I'll do a show tonight. I'm not sure yet, but I like the Dolphins 2017. Make sure you hit them like buttons. Make sure you subscribe, comment, share. Hopefully doing a Christmas giveaway. I'm hoping to get the 900 subscribers to do a Christmas giveaway. Maybe some cash, maybe some jerseys, but we shall see. I love you. I appreciate y'all. And I will see you later. Hot Dog says 24-17. Who you got, Steelers or Dolphins? I got Dolphins 2017 beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love y'all. Fins up. Peace.
Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. The Fin smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.